Hello, and welcome to the Book Marketing Simplified podcast. I'm Jenn Hanson-dePaula.
And I'm Marcus-dePaula. And Jenn, on this podcast and in your coaching, you talk a lot about mindset. And that is what sets us up for establishing our process, getting our strategy straight to where we can then take action and start to do things to connect with our readers. Today, you wanted to talk about one of these mindset pieces that is often overlooked by authors.
Yeah, and it's not just authors. You see it in podcasting,
Yes.
We see it in business, we see it in a lot of things. And I see a lot of marketing experts talking about how we can find quick fixes for things.
Right.
Or how we can find a quick way to do something that's easy for, in our case, the author. We want to save time and we want to save energy in doing things.
Sure.
But what I really want to challenge authors with is thinking about, is this easy fix or this thing that's not going to take me as much time, is this what's best for my reader and for my reader's experience and journey?
Right.
We've often talked about how there are no shortage of options for readers with books. They're being inundated by them on a daily basis.
And we're not just competing with other books. We're also competing with YouTube. We're competing with Netflix. We're competing for time. It's not just the fact that there are a bunch of other books out there.
Exactly. And we really, really have to consider, is this action that I'm going to take best for me, or is it best for my reader and my reader's experience?
Right.
Sometimes when we think that there is an obvious choice in the matter, we need to remember that as the author or as the content creator, we're in the middle of it.
Right.
Okay, I'm telling people that my book is for sale. That does not mean that your reader knows, okay, where do I go to get this? Is there a place on the website? Is it on Amazon? Where do I go?
Right.
And so just posting something and expecting readers to know exactly where to find it, or if there's a shortcut that you've taken that was easy for you, is that going to be the best experience for your reader?
This is a discipline in the business world known as user experience.
Yes.
And there are specialists that when it comes to websites, when it comes to software and apps, that they focus on the experience they're providing for the people using that service or that app. And we need to be thinking about that when it comes to our readers, because they're more than just users.
Yes.
We want to connect with them on an even deeper level than someone just casually browsing a website and trying to get them to click on the right button.
Exactly.
So it's not enough just to have this mindset as we're creating things. How can we actually apply this to our marketing activities?
So there are two things that I would do. First of all, let's say you're posting something on Instagram, for example. You want to go through the process that your reader is going to go through. So they're going to be scrolling. And the first step is you want to stop them in their tracks with an image or a video that speaks to them. And you want them to actually read the caption, because that's the next step. You don't want the experience just to end with a like or just scrolling past. You want them to take action. So being mindful of the first sentence that you put in your caption to make them want to click the more button to read more.
That's the headline.
That's the headline. And then having a call to action to make them want to go to your profile, to click the link in your bio, and to go to your website.
Not just buy my book.
Exactly. And so it's thinking about the journey, how you're going to take your reader, how you're going to get their attention, and how you're going to lead them where you want them to go. Now, some people might say, oh, that would take forever. It doesn't. It just takes some practice.
Yes.
And again, it's being intentional. It's not just about posting something on Instagram to just check it off of your list. You won't see results from that. You need to have a pathway that you want to lead them to.
Yes. Like we've talked about in previous episodes, it's also paying attention to what's working and what's not and adjusting accordingly.
Exactly. We tend to think that making these adjustments or doing these things intentionally is going to take over our lives when it just takes a couple more minutes. And you would much rather spend 2 extra minutes writing a caption that is intentional, that's going to see results rather than just plopping something on there mindlessly.
Just throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks. Being intentional and methodical about how we approach the connection process with our readers on social media. While it may feel like it's taking more time up front, which is what you're saying, the more we do it, the faster we get at it.
It's practice.
Yeah.
That's all it is. And then the second thing that I would put into practice is asking for someone's feedback, whether that be a partner, a friend, a reader. For example, let's say you have a new website, and even though you have sunk so much of your brain power into this and you know it inside and out, it might not flow easily for your user.
Right.
So asking a friend to go look at your website and say, okay, does this make sense? Does it flow? Mm-hmm. Do my call to actions make sense?
So it's getting someone that has an outside objective, fresh perspective that will experience things in a new way that you may not be thinking of and bring things up that may not even have occurred to you. And I do this with you all the time. I constantly ask you, hey, does this make sense? Does this look good?
Yes, exactly. And having an outside opinion really opens up your mind to see, oh, I didn't see it that way.
Right.
Someone else's perspective is so helpful, and it's going to help you be more effective.
Yeah. And then along with that, it's not just getting one person to look at it, it's getting a variety of perspectives because all of our brains work differently.
Yes.
So what makes sense to one person may not make sense to another one. Not going crazy and trying to get a sample of like 50 people, but just trying to get 2 or 3 trusted sources that may have different ways of looking at things to help you make sure that everything makes sense.
Exactly.
All right, so what is the make it happen moment for being mindful of how our readers are experiencing the content that we're putting out there?
As I always say, start simple and get fancy later.
Mm-hmm.
What I would start off with is the next time you post to social media, stopping and saying, okay, what is the process that I am taking my readers on? Start with your social media.
Right.
Really be mindful of thinking about your reader when you're creating your image or your video, about catching their eye with the headline on your caption and where you want to lead them, and leading them to where you want them to go, whether that be to sign up for your newsletter, click the link in your profile, that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So starting to put this process into practice by just starting with your social media posts is going to not only help you start that mindfulness practice, but it's going to make your social media posts more effective.
Absolutely. So like we say at the end of every episode, we love hearing from you to see what's working, what's not, what else we can help with. And one of the best places now that we have where you can connect with us and ask us your questions and let us know how things are going is our brand new Authors Circle.
Our new membership, yes, the Author Circle. It is a fantastic place to get your marketing in order, to really get a solid plan in place.
And it's not just a place where Jenn is providing resources for you to be able to apply to your marketing. Jenn's also going to be on there doing live streams with office hours and workshops. And we're both actively watching and listening on there to find out what we can do to help you with your book marketing.
And it's an amazing community of authors and writers who are self-published, traditionally published, who are just starting their journey, to those that have written 30 or 40 books. It's a wonderful community of people.
So we'll put the link to that in the show notes for the podcast. You can also just head over to mixedusmedia.com to learn more about it.
And we'd love to have you join us.
Thanks for listening.
See you next time.